Well, Heaven is for Real had another strong weekend at the box office, finishing number 3 with just over $14 million. So far, it's made more than $52 million in 2 weeks of release. And God's Not Dead came in at number 11. It's brought in almost $53 million in 6 weeks. God's Not Dead is about a college student whose faith is challenged by one of his professors. And it's raising the question, how free are students to practice and share their faith on college campuses? Greg Howe joins us now to talk about that. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
Thank you.
He is a field director for the campus ministry InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. Now, Greg, most college students won't face a direct challenge to their faith like the one depicted in the movie, but they will face challenges, won't they?
Absolutely. I think students are challenged by the culture of the campus, which just assumes God doesn't exist. And I think they're challenged to make their faith an adult faith rather than just a high school, Sunday school faith.
Well, what's the key to staying strong, and how does InterVarsity help with that?
Sure. I think there are 3 things that all students need to do. First, they need to learn to study the Scripture, not just individual passages, but the whole of Scripture. And so InterVarsity plugs Christians and non-Christians into Bible studies all the time. We probably have about 30,000 students involved in a weekly Bible study, because we're convinced if they meet Jesus in the Scriptures, they'll learn to follow him for a lifetime. I think the second thing they need to do is develop community. Other Christians will support them, help them think about their faith, and live it out practically. And then I think the third thing all students need to learn how to do is engage their studies from a Christian viewpoint, not just quoting Bible studies in a paper or hiding a fish symbol in art. That's bad engagement. But how do you think about the subjects you're engaging in as revealing something about God's truth, as well as engaging those places where the beliefs or worldviews challenge what you believe, and then thoughtfully engaging it? Because if you can do that in college, you're equipped for a lifetime in business, in government, at church, and in the world.
That is so true. Well, talk about evangelization. What tools is InterVarsity using to help students share their faith, and what kind of results are they seeing?
Sure. We're using a number of different tools in evangelism. Our favorite tool is to invite non-Christians to engage the Scriptures. I'm convinced if you meet Jesus in the Bible, he's compelling, he's beautiful, and you'll want to follow him. We also use interactive displays that we call proxy stations to challenge students to think about current events, sex trafficking, social justice issues, as well as the campus party culture, and to think through what does it mean about their deepest longings and how God might answer them. And then we always invite people one-on-one to become followers of Jesus. And I think what's intriguing to me is students are more open now about the gospel than almost at any time in our history. We've seen the number of non-Christians who've come to faith in InterVarsity double over the last 10 years. Rather than being a hard place for mission, the college university campus is wide open in terms of spiritual interest and students' willingness to respond.
Excellent. Well, some universities have actually taken a negative view of InterVarsity chapters on their campuses. What's happening, and how are those chapters responding?
Sure. A number of universities are using non-discrimination language to say that groups like InterVarsity may not use religious requirements in leadership selection, which we find impossible to do. We're a Christian organization, and Scripture demands certain leadership requirements. So I think what's happening for our students is they're growing in confidence about their faith as they have to grapple with these issues. We've had chapter after chapter tell us this has clarified their commitment to grow in their theological understanding of what it means to be a Christian, as well as their boldness in engaging the administration, which I think, man, that'll pay off as they engage the government, as they engage their employers in the future. And it's winning them opportunities to witness. They're able to talk to faculty and administrators about, as Christians, why they believe what they believe, why it's important to them, and how it's changing the ways that they live.
Now, school will soon be out, but thousands of InterVarsity members are adding an extra week to their school year for some special training. Tell us about that.
Sure. Most regions in InterVarsity, several thousand students will be going to 1-week camps we call chapter camps or chapter focus weeks. And our goals during that week are that non-Christians who come, and hundreds do, become followers of Jesus, that student leaders are prepared and trained for the coming year of campus ministry. We think one of the best contributions we make to the church is that we're training students to cast vision, to call people into Bible studies and into evangelism and lead on college and university campuses. So our hope is that several thousand students will receive a call into mission, and hundreds of students will come to faith during the next couple weeks of the end of the year.
Well, you're doing a good work, Greg. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.